Hello, my name is Sophia Ying, and I'll be talking about my experience at the operational room. I shadowed at Piedmont Henry Hospital's operational room on December 21st, 2021. I've been interested in the medical field and was looking for an opportunity to shadow. Luckily, I have a friend named Shi who works as a nurse practitioner at Piedmont Henry who connected me to this opportunity. I arrived with Shi at the hospital at 8 a.m. and then was introduced to the operational room admin, Rebecca. I then changed into scrubs and put on all the necessary protection to go into the OR, including eye protection and mask and hairnet. The first surgery I shadowed was at 8:30, and it was a hysterectomy, also known as the removal of the uterus. The surgeon was using a newly introduced robot that made surgeries a lot easier since it had a lot more arms than surgeons usually do. I could not take videos of the surgery itself because of HIPAA laws, but I could take videos of the robot. The team in the operating room consisted of quite a few people. This included the surgeon, the anesthesiologist, the scrub nurse, and the registered nurse. The hysterectomy went smoothly and the operation was finished at promptly 10:30. The next surgery I shadowed was in orthopedics. It was a hip removal and I didn't know what to expect. The anesthesiologist explained to me the benefits of a lumbar puncture and also told me how she managed anesthesia supply to the patient. While they were setting up for the lumbar, they realized that the patient, an elderly man, recently had a back surgery and decided that general anesthesia was the better choice. The team members in the operational room were the same, however this time the surgeon brought his PA because the surgery definitely needed a second pair of hands. Orthopedics is a little gruesome. Imagine walking into a carpentry shop, and then seeing two guys in hazmat suits standing over a body with a bloody leg. And then they take a saw to cut off part of the patient's femur. It's terrifying. Terrifying, I tell you. The registered nurse who was in the operational room was very enthusiastic and walked me through the entire operation. Thank you so much, Rachel. Based on my experience at the operational room, I'm quite sure that I would not want to do surgeries, especially surgeries in orthopedics. However, I'm still willing to go into the medical field and know that I will have to encounter surgeries in the future. Before a living, I'm more comfortable working with patients versus doing operations on them. All the teamwork I saw in the operational room was very admirable, for only the constant communication between the team allowed the surgeries to go as smoothly and as quick as possible. Thank you so much for watching. Enjoy this clip with my cat.
Hi, my name is Akanshi Nirpade and I'm a junior in Northview High School, and this is my second year project with SLJC, where we were tasked to shadow someone in a field of our choosing. For this project, I was originally planning on shadowing someone in the medical field. However, with the pandemic, it has become increasingly hard to find someone to shadow because of the heat of the situation in those medical practices. So, when Ms. Sanders had offered a medical shadow through Zoom, I was extremely happy. My shadowing project was with Dr. Sandra Rasmussen, who is part of the University of Florida College of Medicine and who worked extensively with the CDC. Starting off, she mentioned how her passion for entering medicine started from her family, and she emphasized how it's amazing to have something personal that inspires you to enter this field. I think a lot of people enter medicine just for the money, but I learned that it probably won't cut it in the long run just to enter for a paycheck. Then, in going into her career and experience, she talked about her work with epidemics, specifically the emerging infections among pregnant women, and she talks about how she wrote various research papers about the topic too. She also gave insight on the role hierarchy when it came to her CDC job, and how she collaborated with others in that hierarchy, eventually climbing up the ranks. One thing I did notice was how specific and precise her team's operations were. They were tracking and tracing each and every person and looked at every single piece of data offered to them. I knew the job required some amount of specificity, but I was surprised to see her explain some of her experience with the job. Her job seemed very analytical and seemed to require lots of critical thinking. She had to review and consider many different things when making decisions and doing her job. Overall, I learned a lot about her job and her extensive involvement in healthcare. It wasn't originally what I had planned on pursuing a career in or who I planned on shadowing, but this shadow has definitely broadened my perspective. Her job is interesting and would seem like something I could definitely pursue, now that I've witnessed almost firsthand what her job is like. As the video wraps up, I would just like to thank Ms. Sanders and SLJC for pushing me to complete this project. I've gained invaluable experience and I'm glad that I completed this, and thank you for watching this video.
using Powtoon.
I'm Aisha Shah from the Student Leadership Johns Creek class of 2022. I chose to shadow Mr. Anand Tucker, who's currently a strategic executive advisor and a MarTech industry insider. Mr. Tucker graduated from the Georgia Institute of Technology with a degree in computer engineering and has since received a master's in business administration. During our meeting with him, he mentioned that he originally started in marketing and renewable energy development. However, he later turned toward a newer interest in the financial world, from managing venture capital portfolios to serving as an executive advisor. He plans to continue his career in marketing technology, commonly referred to as MarTech. When asked about his experience in business and how to start a successful career, Mr. Tucker mentioned that breaking into the business industry can be tough since there is increased competition in the job market and higher expectations from candidates. He further mentioned that the business realm can be risky, especially due to the volatility and risk associated with careers in finance and marketing. However, small successes and strong connections can potentially catapult careers. Most successful business ventures are the culmination of 3 key steps: brainstorming, collaborating, and scaling. I really like that the combination of business and technology allows for creating scalable solutions by combining practical goals with the implementation of software development, artificial intelligence, and data analysis, a perfect mix of my interests and strengths. Although there certainly is competition in the job market and amongst companies, the workplace culture and environment are primarily focused on inspiring diverse ideas and nurturing growth. From CEOs to employees, each person in business must exemplify leadership and collaborate with team members to ensure a successful outcome. Mr. Thakur highlighted the importance of being a leader in his career and the benefit in building strong connections and networking with team members. Shadowing Mr. Thakur was a great experience. From learning more about the marketing realm to gaining an insight into financial investments, Mr. Thakur's advice and this shadowing experience have inspired me to pursue a career in financial analysis, one that would combine both my leadership and technology backgrounds. I want to thank Mr. Thakur for helping young student leaders like me explore prospective careers, and a special thanks to Ms. Sanders for providing this great opportunity.
Part of our second year in Student Leadership Johns Creek, we were given an assignment to shadow a person in a field that we were interested in. I chose business as a field that I was interested in shadowing, since that's what I'm planning to major at college. Mrs. Sanders was kind enough to connect me and a bunch of other students to Mr. Anand Thakur, who taught us a lot about the business field. Mr. Thakur graduated Georgia Tech with a major in computer engineering. Since then, he has partaken in countless projects and consulting opportunities to better businesses and the community around him. An example of this is when he took part of the I Heart Johns Creek initiative to better the lives of Johns Creek citizens. We first started off our day by him introducing himself and his background. We then went on to discover the different aspects of being a business major and how skills acquired could be used in the real world. We then went on to discuss how important networking is and how having an online presence such as LinkedIn could help students further their career in the business field. Lastly, we discussed different majors in college that could be used to achieve a life in business. After listening to Mr. Thakur speak to us about his experiences and share his advice with us, I've learned things about myself in relation to the business field. For example, I've learned that I'm more interested in the marketing side of business. His tips and student leadership's tips on networking through LinkedIn or any other social media platform or clubs and events will help me thrive in the future. By putting myself out there, I'll be able to connect with people and find countless business opportunities. According to Mr. Thakur, communicating with others, inspiring others, challenging others, and more vital leadership skills that I have learned during my time at Student Leadership Johns Creek are employed in the business field. Based on my shadowing experience, I am intrigued on how numerous factors play into business and can't wait to dive deeper into the business world.
Created using Powtoon. using Powtoon. Created using Powtoon.
Hi, my name is Shri Shija, and this is my experience at the Business Forum. While many people think business is where you have to spend hours on paperwork or computers, I got a new idea of what business is when I attended the Business Forum, where I got the chance to hear Mr. Anand Thakur talk about his experience in the business world. Mr. Thakur talked about how he attended Georgia Tech for computer engineering. He talked about his job at Siemens as a marketing manager, where he got to work in online marketing. He also talked about his experience at IBM, where he was responsible for revamping marketing operations. Mr. Thakur discussed the importance of making connections in the business world and how every connection is important. We went into detail about how LinkedIn is a great resource, and now while hiring, people also look at your LinkedIn, so it is important to update and make connections. Teamwork is very important in the business world, and it's a leadership skill needed for business. Active listening to others is also very important when working in a team, so it is another great leadership skill to have. I am happy I got the chance to talk to Mr. Thakur about his experience in the business world. It makes me want to continue in the business path. Thank you.
Created using Powtoon.
Hello, my name is Nikita Jha, and for my shadowing project, I shadowed Bipin Jha, who is a software developer at LexisNexis. For my shadowing responsibilities, I mainly just had to attend meetings with Bipin and understand the code he was writing, as well as contribute some of my own solutions to bugs that were coming up in the code, as well as general administrative tasks, such as keeping along with the meeting with the spreadsheet and following what other developers and other team members were doing by logging it in a tracking journal. I think overall the experience was very rewarding and satisfying because it not only showed me more about how a software developer works and the kind of problems that they face on a daily basis, but also how these problems are dealt with by teams by and large the entire organization. So, really understanding more about how a timeline for getting a task or getting a feature that needs to be implemented, and then iteratively going through all the steps to accomplish it, whether that be first making a sketch of the problem and then coding out a skeleton version of it with pseudocode, and then filling in all the blanks, and then testing it, and then retesting it, and then sending out to other developers to debug. Just understanding that timeline was a really great experience for me. And overall, I thought software development is a great field that I would definitely be interested in pursuing in the future, but one part of it that I didn't necessarily, connect with as much is the lack of human connectivity and interaction in a large part of the day-to-day basis. While there definitely are meetings and other ways to kind of interact with people, it's not as engaging and as kind of involved as I would want to be in my profession. So that's one thing about software development that I am not the biggest fan of. But after talking to other people who work at the company and other administrators, I realized that product management is a great blend of both that technical side of software development, but also a more, interaction and people's-based section, which is more of what I would like to do in my job. I think my favorite part of the experience was just watching how Bipin was interacting with other individuals and, the on-spot thinking that needs to be done whenever someone's in a meeting or somebody's debugging code. It was something very satisfying to watch for me because it really required the presence of the mind and staying engaged and staying alert at all times. So it was great to see that happening between the team. There was one thing that surprised me about my shadowing project was just how much collaboration and communication goes into every single feature and project, whether that be, when it's first released and talking through, what it means, but also developing it and then testing it and sending it out to other parties and getting them to test it. The whole framework of the process was something that was much more grand in nature than I expected. So that was surprising to me. I think overall I learned a lot from the experience, and I would love to thank Bipin for taking me on and enabling me to journey with him in a day of his life. Thank you.
We met with Mr. Thakur at the Chamber of Commerce. The day began with the narration of his career in business and continued into a conversation with the students about what motivated him to choose specific majors, roles, and industries. I chose to attend the business forum as I'm interested in pursuing a career in business and/or finance, and wanted to learn more about specific majors that are related to the career field and learn about how certain personal characteristics tie into choosing a role or major within the industry. My opinions have changed about business as I thought it would be a field consisting with strengths in mainly math rather than interpersonal skills, but what I found out the most interesting was when Mr. Thakur discusses his personality test and how he realized his strengths were in learning and connecting to individuals, tied in with data analysis, which are reflected in his career roles. I related to this as I also have strengths in learning about individuals and connecting to other people, as well as noticing patterns/trends to people and other data. Mr. Anand Thakur is involved in the energy industry, political, and financial markets, and has led many entrepreneurial ventures. He has over 18 years of experience in business. He has also worked with the city of Johns Creek on the I Heart Johns Creek project, where Johns Creek adapted a strategic focus on healthcare innovation and wellness. I noticed that me and Mr. Thakur shared three main strengths/leadership skills, which were relator, individualization, and learner. I learned how one could enjoy an environment consisting of teamwork, passion, and connection in business. In this field, he mentioned that depending on your role, you might not interact with many people, however, most roles include talking to others on a daily basis. I liked how business allowed for people to explore the intersection of people and data while also tying in traditional business concepts. However, I didn't find myself to be interested in conversations about the stock market or cryptocurrency during the forum, which tend to dominate conversations in a large part of the business industry. Mr. Thakur stated that he realized after taking many personality tests that what he truly enjoyed in his profession was the intersection of people and data that tied in traditional business concepts. However, he realized that personal/family matters took precedence at times and took a break from his career. I hope to pursue a career that ties in business aspects. However, I do not believe I would like to pursue a career in the business industry, as I was interested in the projects but not the conversations about the stock market, leading me to realize I would prefer a job in government or financial policy related career instead.
Created using Powtoon.
Hello, my name is Ayn Afray, and I shadowed Harsh Damji, who is currently a senior data scientist at Garrett. Their office is located in downtown Atlanta, but I chose to do the shadowship online. So I chose Mr. Damji because I'm very fascinated by emerging technology and the actual brains behind it, such as machine learning and big data. And as I take my own computer science classes in high school, I was very persuaded to lean towards a tech-focused shadowship. And Mr. Damji was actually recommended to me by my own parents. And I'm very grateful that I was able to peer through a data scientist's job for a day. So as per the actual schedule, the very first thing done every single day is setting up the agenda, picking meetings, deciding tasks, and road mapping what projects they have. And this took about an hour. Following that, working with actual raw code takes up the majority of the day and can last up to 4 hours long. And after that work, meetings are held at the end of the day to discuss all the progress made throughout the day and talk about the future. And although it is a very straightforward job at first glance, after experiencing what it means to be a data scientist below surface level, I've been thoroughly fascinated. And my opinions on data scientists themselves and the actual job has definitely changed now that I've completed my shadowship. And I just respect these individuals a lot more because of the sheer data they analyze, the projects they create, and the code they do takes an insane amount of brain power. And really, it is the work of these many geniuses that we have access to these technological marvels at our fingertips. And Mr. Damji in particular works on 3 things, which are statistical analysis, scripting, and data stewardship. And the purpose of these tasks are very similar, and they all basically help regular people, whether it be for business or for personal use, see data in simple terms rather than thousands of lines of raw input given by computers. So statistical analysis is essentially collecting massive amounts of data and just finding patterns or trends within all of that chaos. Scripting enables users to complete tasks much quicker because it automates many tasks, so a human doesn't have to complete them individually. So think about it as a machine in a factory that speeds up whatever task it needs to do much more efficiently than a human ever could. And finally, data stewardship ensures that a company or organization their data is presentable and secure. And this is very important, for example, in the medical field, because of how much personal data there is on patients. The data needs to be organized and secured properly to make treating these actual patients much more efficient. And one of the great things, though, about working in this particular field is the ability to work from home almost whenever you want to. And I believe that flexibility is vital to remaining a proper lifestyle in this extremely demanding field of work. As for teamwork, other than meetings, it is extremely an individual job with tasks that most of the time don't require any teamwork at all. And when I did ask Mr. Damji what he liked about the job, he just expressed his immense love for technology in general. And this motivation is what makes it possible to participate in such a demanding job every single day. And when asked about his dislikes, I had a one-word answer, which was just quote-unquote nothing. So although Mr. Damji didn't express any negatives about his job, for me, I thought that the workload was pretty intense, and it made me question if I would be able to keep up, even if I don't necessarily love the actual job, if I was to pursue this field. Regardless, it was amazing to see an individual so in love with what they do, and that not only inspires me to pursue this field, but it inspires me to pursue any field of work that I would love going into every single day.